Hey folks, Shon with Longspur Tracking here. And today I want to talk to you about shot placements with archery equipment. Very important as we start gearing up here and getting ramped up. Get out here and hunt some whitetail deer and some monster bucks. Let's break a deer down real simply. Middle third and lower third. Now, you should be seeing a chart here on your screen. We break that deer up and down in thirds and straight across the body in thirds, and you want to hold middle third and lower third, and you can see that on this chart. Now, what are you going to hit when you're shooting that middle third and lower third? Well, you're going to hit heart, you're going to hit lungs, you could hit liver and lungs, you could hit liver only, or you could hit the far forward section of the lower paunch area. These areas are all deadly. You hit the heart, you're only tracking for about 50 to 80 yards. You double lung, it isn't going to be much further. If you hit lung and liver, that deer's going to walk out and bed down. If you handle it correctly, he'll be dead in that bed in 6 to 8 hours. And if you hit that lower paunch area, if you back out and get your local dog tracker, you're going to find that deer really quick. Don't be chasing a deer hitting that lower paunch area, but we suggest the middle third, lower third hold point. You're going to kill a lot of deer and they're not going to go anywhere. Now that you know the important concept of middle thirds and lower thirds, the next talk we have to have is stay off the shoulder with archery equipment. You do not want to fool around with those shoulders. If you hit high shoulder, you are actually hitting through an area everybody calls no man's land, and some people mistakenly think they're hitting the deer through a void that's above the lungs below the spine, which this is incorrect. Actually, the spine dips down behind the shoulders and you're sending an arrow through a deer above the spine. There's nothing there that's going to kill that deer. So you've just injured a deer and educated him. He's not going to want to come towards that stand anymore, made him a little harder to kill. And you've stoved him up pretty good for a few weeks. These deer, when we track them, leave lots of blood, go out, bed down, and then nothing. They show back up on camera 2 or 3 weeks later with a big old area on their shoulder where you hit them right there in that no man's land, which is above the spine, behind the shoulders. Another important thing to keep in mind during archery season is if you use a crossbow, and we see a lot of people using crossbows now, and they are a great tool for recruitment into the hunting world. We're seeing a lot more elderly people still hunting. We're seeing young children coming into the sport. We are seeing women come into the sport. But we have to remember that crossbows are not rifles. Even though you hold them like a rifle, they are not rifles. And you still have to hold that lower third, middle third, because you are not going to knock a nice buck off its feet shooting it through the shoulders like you would a rifle. Middle third, lower third, even when you have a crossbow in your hands. Also, another aspect with shot placement with archery is mechanical versus fixed blade broadhead. And what do I think as a tracker? Well, this is what I think. If you place that mechanical or fixed blade broadhead through the middle third or lower third, you're not going to have many worries. Now, as a tracker, if you call me and said, man, I just hit a deer far back, and I did it with a 2-inch big open wide cutting, mechanical blade, boy, I'm going to be happy to come do that track because I know there's going to be a lot of scent. And if you handle that track correctly, we're going to have a really good chance of catching up to that deer for you. Also, fixed blade broadheads. Now, if you call me and said, boy, I shot a little far forward, I may have hit this deer through the shoulders, but I think I got enough penetration to get a lung, I'm hoping you're telling me you used a fixed blade. A lot of times we don't see a mechanical broadhead make it through the heavy muscle and bone of a buck's front shoulder, but we do see mechanicals get in there, contact one lung, which is a trackable deer. We do catch up with a lot of one lung hits, and unfortunately they're still alive, and we have to have the hunter finish them off, or in our home state here where it's legal for us to dispatch, we dispatch. But just keep in mind, shot placement with archery equipment, middle third, lower thirds, Don't treat a crossbow like a rifle. And mechanical versus fixed blade really don't matter if you're hitting them in that middle third or lower third.